When this year's theme was announced, I began to think about Atlas and how Atlas had to navigate difficult challenges while carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. And it made me think about today's society and how many of us are navigating today with multiple challenges while carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. So it made me think about a question. Who would we be if that weight was no longer on our shoulders? Would we be making more money? Would we be in a different position in life? Would we be able to jump higher, run faster? Who would we be if that weight was no longer on our shoulders? And I had to think a little bit more deeper. I think about a lot of us and how we believe that the quicker we are to release this weight off of our shoulders, the quicker we can achieve our goals. But allow me to offer a different perspective. I believe the goal is to slowly remove the weight of the world from your shoulders so that you are able to achieve your goals stronger than you started. I want us to close our eyes and envision something. We are in downtown San Antonio, Texas. It's 50 degrees, it's 5 in the morning, and you have 1,000 people standing behind you and thousands surrounding you. And you are approaching the starting line of your very first marathon. Now, your main focus is to get to that finish line as quickly as possible. But little did you know that a full marathon, and we can open our eyes, is 26.2 miles. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's a good idea to go full speed during a 26.2 mile marathon? Not a smart idea. And the reason being is you'll probably burn yourself out or potentially hurt yourself before you achieve the goal. Now, I can't envision this because I've actually done it 4 times actually. And when I ran the marathon in San Antonio in 2023, this was my 4th one. But this is the one that I was most proud of because I finished at the slowest time that I've ever done it. But the reason being is because I wanted to pace myself. This is when I laid down the foundation of perseverance. I wasn't focusing on finishing quickly. I was focusing on finishing stronger than I started. I was interacting with the crowd. I was reading the signs. I was dancing with the mariachi bands. I was legitimately having fun. See, when my 3 previous attempts with marathons, I didn't do that. I was focusing on finishing as quickly as possible, and I left with such tremendous pain. I love running, but it took me months of recovery to get back to doing what I love doing. And I didn't fully understand why I ran the marathon. You put yourself through such immense pain and struggle, but imagine getting through it and you don't know why you just did it. With the San Antonio marathon, I had enough energy to celebrate, but I understood the reason why I ran this marathon was to prove myself that I can do things and accomplish things while taking my time and doing it. And this is why I understood that perseverance isn't about sprinting to the finish line. It's about enjoying your life, doing what you need to, but knowing you can achieve your goal at your own pace. Now, understand, when you're running a marathon, there's going to be people in front of you, but that's their marathon. You're saving your energy. You're knowing your limits. You're listening to your body. Now, I know you're probably wondering, well, Gio, if I'm not supposed to run a marathon quickly while carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders, well, how am I not going to crumble under the pressure? Allow me to share a story with you. When I originally had the thought of running a marathon, I wasn't in the physical condition that I am today. I was legitimately half the man that I was. See, when I originally had the idea of running a marathon, I was close to 400 pounds. And the only reason why I challenged myself to accomplish this amazing feat is because I was constantly humiliated. I was bullied. I was viewed as someone who wasn't capable of achieving amazing feats. So I, myself, had since created this mindset that I needed to get validation for other people, to prove my worth. but it also pushed me to do things quickly without understanding why I'm doing it. See, in 1 year's time, I lost 200 pounds. But I was miserable during the entire time because I went consistently days not eating properly, but all I was focused on was losing the weight quickly. And after losing 200 pounds, I didn't understand why I did it. I enrolled in my first marathon in Memphis, Tennessee. And again, I did it, I finished, but I didn't understand why I did it. And I left with immense pain. We go back to the San Antonio Marathon. And the reason why I'm so proud of it again is because I developed a mentality. And I call it the marathon mentality. See, this is when you are able to break down a goal into 5 phases. With a marathon, there's 5 sections. I like to break it up. Phase 1, which is 3.1 miles to 5K. This is where you're warming up to the idea that you can achieve a goal. But there's a lot of doubt because you got a long journey ahead of you. You don't know what is to come. You got over 20 miles. And then you have phase 2, which is the 6.2 mile marker, the 10K. Again, you're finding your pace, you're finding your rhythm, you're still warming up, but you're putting a plan in motion. But you still have a lot of doubt because there's 20 miles to go. There's still a long way to go. Then you got the half marathon. Your confidence is booming. All right, you got halfway through, but this is where you start finding momentum. But as we know, with momentum, it doesn't last forever. So you feel like you have to rush in order to finish. And then you get to phase 4, which is mile 20. Your confidence is through the roof. You just did 20 miles. What's another 6.2 going to do to you? But see, it is at mile 20 where I crashed. See, the reason why I crashed is because I let the weight of the world crash on me. I was so focused on doing things quickly that I burned myself out. All I needed to do during this phase of my life was complete a master's program. But I didn't feel like it was moving quick enough for me. So instead of finishing, I decided to take a job. See if it will get me faster to my goals, the goals that I'm trying to complete. But lo and behold, I didn't recognize that this job was beyond my qualifications. I could not handle it. In 8 months, I became the most undesirable, untrustworthy person that I could ever become. I lost relationships. I lost all my money. And I went half the year hopeless. I could not even join the company of my own mother and my family because I was so focused on getting back to where I was. So here I am at mile 20, and I had to ask myself a question. Can I finish this marathon even if I walk back to mile 1? So that's exactly what I did. I walked all the way back to mile 1. I re-enrolled in my master's program. I said, I'm going to do this the right way. My intention was to finish the story, but as well as to finish stronger than I started so that I can have enough energy to celebrate and rekindle these relationships with my family. It wasn't about the money. It was about finishing the marathon. So again, I already warmed up to the idea, can I finish my master's degree? I believed it. That was phase 1. Phase 2, I put the plan in motion. I started taking the courses, started reviewing the job market. I still felt doubt because I had to explain a job gap. But that didn't stop me. So I kept on going. I get to the halfway point. I'm so close, but this is where I feel momentum is coming. And I feel like, do I have to move quick? And I said, no, just keep going at the pace you're going. And here I am back at mile 20. And it is mile 20 when I start reflecting, why am I on this journey? And it's crazy to think, why would I do this in mile 20? Well, it's because this is where I start persevering. And I understood 3 principles of perseverance. See, it is during this phase where I understand my why. Why are you running this marathon? Why is this goal so important to you? Why are the sacrifices that you're making important to this goal? Why are you constantly putting yourself in a position where you can wear yourself out? What is it worth? Why are you doing it? And then the second principle, pace yourself. You remember how I said there's people who are going to be in front of you? But why are you so focused on them when this is your journey? This is your marathon. The finish line, they're going to get there before you, but that's their race. It's not your race. You're going to get there. It may take you a little bit more time, but there's nothing wrong with that. How many people in this room are runners? There's something I believe we all agree in. We absolutely hate hills. And you tell me I can run an extra mile to avoid hills during a marathon, I would. But see, embracing the hills is the most important part during a marathon. See, the validation that we seek is in the hills that we avoid climbing. And see, it's during the hills, when you carry the weight of the world, you get stronger. And it gets a little bit easier as you embrace those hills. But see, it's the hills that you know how to navigate difficult challenges. And you embrace the most hills during the last 6.2 miles. But best believe, I did encounter those hills. And it got hard. And it got steeper. But let me tell you, this past December, I finished with my master's degrees in student affairs and higher education. And I came all the way from Reading, Pennsylvania, to College Station, Texas, to take my talents here. I'm not LeBron James, but I came all the way to College Station, Texas, and I was able to restart my life the right way, the way it should have been. So allow me to ask you again, what is your marathon? What does it mean to you? The goal is not to remove the weight of the world quickly. It's to remove it slowly so you're able to finish stronger than you started. Thank you.